delighted to have been joined by Phuong, who is one of the organisers of the conference. First off, I just wanted to ask you about your impressions for the event so far.
So generally, because I'm part of the organising committee for the conference, so I'm quite happy to see a lot of people coming from different parts of the world to Vietnam. And I'm very proud to show, in addition to the content of the conference, that the international participants can have feelings and more understanding about Vietnam and the people, particularly through the field trips arrangements. So first, that's my first impression. And the second one is that about through working through the organization of the conference, I feel that this kind of conference will try to bridge or to bring the closer cooperation between the government of Vietnam with the NGO sector, because in terms of climate change adaptation in Vietnam and disaster risk management in Vietnam, NGOs or civil society in Vietnam has played a very big role in experimenting on the ground, helping the communities, and also trying to advocate to the government the good approaches that they have conducted in the field with the local people. So this is a good opportunity for the central level agency to work with the NGOs to come to the successful organization of the workshop. The third thing is my impression is I feel that this kind of conference, because it's held in Vietnam, so a lot more Vietnamese participants from different government agencies as well as the NGO sector from Vietnam can participate and learn a lot from this. And I hope all of them would, because of the conference is organizing in Hanoi, so they don't have to travel away from their work, and then they can learn and share the experiences with the international practitioners as well as the policymakers. So it definitely would bring a lot of value for the Vietnamese participants.
Can I just ask, what are some of the challenges that you're facing in Vietnam? What are your colleagues working on and responding to, and how are people responding to the challenge of climate change?
You mean how the local people or the practitioners?
Both together.
Yes. For the local people, actually climate change is not the only issue that they are concerned about. So when we work at in the communities are the local people are experiencing a lot of different challenges in their lives, economically, socially, and also in terms of climate change and disasters, adding another layer to their lives, particularly the poor people and the ethnic minorities people in Vietnam. So as you know, Vietnam has 54 ethnic groups. So we are the majority group, but the ethnic minority groups still remain one of the poorest groups in Vietnam. So climate change generally is another layer of development challenges to their lives. So it's affecting their crops, their health, their water their resources, for example, the forest, the land, and also they realize that they don't understand why this climate change problem happened to them more, because normally they only know of local causes like deforestation or environmental issues, but they don't know that why climate change is happening. So when we work with the farmers, a lot of them ask, I've been growing rice for thousands of years in Vietnam, so why do you talk about sea level rise, for example? So what happened? So people become more, I don't know whether curious, but more, it's difficult to communicate the causes of climate change to the local people, but basically they just take it on and just move on with their lives. If there is any external support, that's great. If not, they just go ahead. For practitioners who work on the ground, we think that because we see climate change as a complex situation, and it's quite new in Vietnam. So for the staff, first of all, we feel that whether we're doing the right things, how can we help the communities correctly, our information is given appropriately or not. So it's a lot of concern for the staff to certainly work on adaptation. Although after a while, people realize that, okay, that we work on the disaster management for a long time, so we become confident that, okay, that's something that part of the climate change picture that we can have. Suddenly, we don't have to be too shy or too less confident about it. So now I think the staff of development staff are more confident in working on climate change adaptation in Vietnam.
And just finally, what are the kind of key lessons or experiences or the big themes that you're going to take away from CBA6, from this conference?
Personally, I'm very strong advocate for the ethnic minorities and indigenous people, and this is the first time the CBA has touched upon the vulnerabilities of the indigenous people, and it happened in Hanoi. I'm very happy about that. So surely, I already encouraged the indigenous people groups who presented in the conference to make a connections and make a stronger voice to share experiences further, and then maybe have the negotiation at the international level. And secondly, I'm very interested in health issue because I found that a lot of government as well as the donors still pay attention to a lot of agriculture, livelihoods, but probably trying to not to address the health impacts. Although the health impact is not only a result of death and injuries, as people often see, but it's a lot of cost to the local people's lives. And it's more gradual, silent impacts that people don't really see that, and they don't put in reports, and then it's not attended very well by different levels. So I hope that after this conference we meet more people who are interested in this, and we will try to make more connections and make more plans for the future for the health and climate change in Vietnam, and hopefully contributing to the international negotiation at the later stage.
Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thanks.